Hi, I'm Isla Fisher.
And I'm Rosamund Pike.
And we're Harper's Bazaar.
One-on-one.
Let me ask you, we are so lucky to have you in this movie. I know we said it every day. Every one of us are the biggest fans.
Was
when
lucky.
you came on set, we were all like, she's here. So I guess, how did a group of, a motley crew of magicians get lucky enough to get you in our movie? Like, what did your agent tell you, or what did Bobby how were you convinced?
Well, you guys are what made me love the first movie, and that's what made me want to be in it. Is because the chemistry between the original Horsemen is so dynamite and fun to watch. You're all intelligent, you've all got sort of some edge, there's some beef between you, but it's this warm-hearted sort of motley family. I love it so much. And I thought, what could I add to that? And I thought you'd be fun to hang out with, and you were.
We really were.
You were.
We had some fun in Abu Dhabi.
Oh, we did.
We did our last
night. They play lots of games. You all play lots of games, lots of card tricks, lots of magic, lots of stories. It's that safe environment where, because you've known each other for so long, the stories are really good and really real, and it's great. And
but you were so good. You just fitted right in, and then they'd say action. You would my favorite thing about working with you is that you don't stay in character between takes.
Oh, I don't. No.
You don't at all. And so she's like cracking jokes, like the most fun you could ever have, telling the greatest stories. You're the most interesting person. You've got the craziest hobbies, the craziest lifestyle. You choose you're just the most inspiring, clever, amazing human. And then you're just like mucking around, and then you'll go right into character with this accent that's so intense and so real.
You couldn't live in Veronica 24/7. She'd be far too intense. But Henley, you probably could live inside.
Henley, I could.
How was it coming back
so
after
fun. Just so fun to be together and to be on. I just love the locations.
Do you love her? Do you love Henley?
I do love Henley. Henley always wore gloves, and I had it in I could never not wear gloves, and then I couldn't on this one I won't give the spoiler to our audience watching, and it sounds silly, but when I create characters, I kind of work from the outside in. I went to this clown school called Jacques, but you create with your posture first, your hair, or your something external, and then you do the inner work, which is kind of inverted to so anyway, I always wore gloves, and Henley didn't on this one. So at the beginning, I was really nervous.
Where is she?
But what would you say was the most challenging part of playing like a villain in something like this that's established, that has a built-in audience, that people are like dying to see?
There's a pressure, isn't there? Because the success of all of your work, which is the main point of the movie, is the Horsemen vanquish someone or succeed in their mission. The success of that mission will rely on how intimidating and how much of an antagonist the villain is.
Yeah.
So she's got to be suitably dastardly, don't know that word, and properly nasty, but also fun to watch. So it's finding that balance, I suppose,
And I loved the costumes that you chose.
Well, she's got to be layered. I thought she's like an onion, so she's got to have. I felt she was a woman who hides under many layers, and I like the fact that she was one of those people who comes from South Africa, likes to think she supports kind of indigenous crafts and sort of local women weaving and things. And then she'd go and she said, "But do you have that in pink?"
Yes.
And one of those people who's like, "I love all the local textiles, but I just don't like the colour."
Yeah.
So. Have the other Horsemen taught you anything over the time you've been making these films?
I feel like I've learned so much. Jesse's sort of, that character of Atlas is so intense, and Dave's character is so sort of the cool guy, and Woody's obviously very...
So Jesse's taught you to be intense?
Yeah, I feel like I've just sort of like stolen a little spice from each character and sort of mixed it into this sort of like... I don't know, soup that is
in your
Henley.
real life? Oh, in Henley, okay.
In my character. No, in real life, in terms of their process, we all work in a really similar way, except I think Dave is a little more method between, but Woody, Jesse, and I depend on, I think as you do, sort of staying natural and keeping our sort of nervous systems calm, so that when we come out, we don't sort of come out the gate too hot. So actually, we sort of complement each other, I think, as performers, as scene partners, because we sort of approach it the same way. But this was really fun, because I don't know if you noticed this, but all the guys were doing magic. So much of the magic in the movie, as we know, is practically done. And you'd go back to your chairs, and everyone's doing a card trick, or people are working on a sleight of hand thing with the diamond.
And your magic, I saw you do some great magic in that wonderful sequence where there's an amazing single shot in the movie, which I had just... I mean, this was my first day on set. You had just completed this extraordinary oneer where it relies on everybody, a sequence of everybody trying to out-trick each other and kind of out-magician one another and show what you've got. And it's all a kind of prowess thing, and to see if you deserve to be here. Mm-hmm. And they just succeeded in doing this, such a cool shot. And everybody was, showing me, and I was like, oh, okay, the stakes are high. How was that?
That was really fun.
That was the
quick change was very quick. In the end, I think we had it down to between 4.5 or 6 minutes to turn over the costume. So no one was waiting on me. I'm one of these people that, I hate when everyone on set waits for me. So I've always been able to cry on cue or do any of those things because I just have so much anxiety about anybody going, come on, Isla, feel something. I'm ready to go. So that was really fun. Yeah. And I wanted to ask you, when you were sort of preparing the accent, which is so hard, and so do you tend to do you work with someone or do you just work with a dialect coach? Or how did you discover Veronica's voice?
I definitely work with a dialect coach because the dialect coach is so deft at telling you, where the accent sits in your mouth, if you're using the tip of your tongue behind your teeth or at the bottom of your teeth or, are you having more tension in your cheeks, all this. I mean, there's so much technical stuff to do with speech, and I find it nerdily fascinating. But then finding the woman who could inspire Veronica, I didn't want to do a generic South African accent. And there was this, I just worked in South Africa, so there were a few ideas I had, and I talked to some of these women, and I didn't feel it was quite right. And then William, my dialect coach, suggested one woman that his wife works with, and I had a Zoom with her, and she asked me where I was, and I said, I'm in LA. She said, oh, how divine to be in LA. And I just thought, oh, you are Veronica. I just want to be that person who divine is just so part of who you are. And an English person, you don't say divine. I mean, if you say, I probably sound like I was insulting you if I said divine.
No, you're being sarcastic.
Yes, sarcastic. Oh, that's divine. How divine to be in LA. It just sounds exactly sarcastic. How divine to be in LA. And I just thought, that is Veronica. I want her to be that person who, although she's awful, she's having so much fun.
How do you think this woman's going to feel when she watches herself?
I squeeze my body too, and I don't know.
Does she know she's playing a villain?
I don't think she does. Well, she's yes, I hope.
No, she'll be very flattered.
If people like Veronica as a villain, I think that's enough. You told a story earlier to me, because we were talking about magic, and we were talking about which magic power we'd have in real life, and I said I'd just like to do card tricks. And you came up with something so much better.
No, mine is, I came up with, my dream is to, and I've got friends who can do this, I'm not one of them, who can throw a dinner party and literally have a conversation and be conscious and present and talk to you while dicing, heating, remembering what temperature, everything else, setting a table when it's just effortless and looking, and I'm just red-faced, chopping mad, don't talk to me, just get yourself a drink. And I just wish if I had a magic ability, it would be to, I guess, host without panic when it comes to cooking. I think no matter how much I overthink and prep and plan, somehow the action of putting the food on the table with people arriving is too overstimulating, and I always end up snapping at someone.
I can hear this. I totally empathise. I've had this running joke with a friend of mine because it's probably 20 years ago now, but I was trying to cook something and it was supposed to be falling off the bone. I was like, it's not falling off the bone. It's when is it going to fall off the bone? And you don't know. And the other night, he came round for dinner again, and I'd cooked something very slow cooking, and I just saw him looking at me, and I could just see him saying, you did good, kid. It's falling 20 years later.
Wait,
you managed to get it falling off the bone.
Wait, I've got to just tell one really quick story that reminds me. I threw a Hollywood dinner in LA. It was Seth Rogen. It was this amazing director, a bunch of people that I wanted to impress. And I made this cheese, I have this famous cheesecake recipe, and I won the Great British Bake Off in LA at my kids' school. And they don't know your name, but I love to, there's this one cheesecake, it's a sensation. But I was so nervous, and I chose to do all these ottolenghi dishes. Yes. So I was overwhelmed.
They're so complicated.
Right, disaster. So everything else had worked, but I was telling everyone, wait, for the cheesecake. I was really bragging. Why? I don't know. I set this up. Anyway, I took the cheesecake out and we were eating outside. It was during COVID. We were on this massive table and I lifted up, you know, when you unclick the silver?
Yeah.
And I might have had a drink or two at this point, and I just like proudly, everyone's like, oh, the famous cheesecake. And it was like a comedy bit. I just lifted it up and it just like a volcano of like wet cheese just melted all over my entire like Moroccan table.
Oh no.
It was so embarrassing.
Did they all lick the tables like good boys?
No, I sort of scraped it up as if no one could see. It was so mortifying.
I don't know why we put ourselves through
Why
it.
do we do
Well,
it?
I think it
'Cause it feels
comes
good
down
when
to it comes down to pride, doesn't it? If we could
Yeah.
all let go of pride, we would
Yeah.
just be able to, you know, invite people around to eat like you eat. You know, like if it was
Yeah,
somebody, you know,
relax.
would you like a spoonful of peanut butter now?
Yeah,
And a little kind of,
yeah, that's a
can I
great
just slice you a piece of cheese? What about
That
a
is
little
a
scoop
great
of
idea.
yesterday's pudding?
Yeah,
you know,
some cold
wouldn't
pizza
that be
from
relaxing?
Tuesday.
You know, but if we could actually do that,
Yeah,
it's
then you
all
could
about
socialise.
You,
Scoop of peanut butter.
how good are you as a stunt woman?
How good am I
Isla?
as a stuntwoman? I started as a stuntwoman.
Oh.
I was a child actor at 10, but then I used to ride all the horses for this TV show that I did.
That's so impressive.
So all the other little child actors that couldn't ride.
It doesn't matter if you a dinner party. You're a
I'm a
stunt woman.
professional stuntwoman. I've been kicked in the head a few times by the horse, as evidenced
That's
by my
amazing.
responses to these questions. No, it's good fun. Loved
Why are
it.
there no horses in Now You See Me?
I don't know. I
In
think
the
magicians.
French chateau, there could have been a
I think there's yeah.
wild
that-
pony or two.
Yeah,
So-
that'd be really good. Henley just, for no reason, just trots in on a
well,
pony
I mean, you flaunt what you've got. I think, in
with a
these movies.
spoonful of peanut butter.
So, do you do any stunts in this film?
I do a bunch of stunts, but nothing that that is too. You know, I'm not Tom Cruise. What about
But
you?
tell me this:
Yes.
do you? I've always thought. Do you actually? Does it make you enjoy a movie more if you know that the actor has done their own stunt?
Absolutely
Or-
not. The opposite for me. It's like I have two things I don't know what it is about films. Seeing nudity, where I always leave the character, leave the story and go, that's a penis or that's breast. And I feel, I'm like confused. It's not a character's breast. It's not a character's penis. It is that person's
Yes.
personal, I just
Personal
can't connect.
appendage,
And so
yeah.
it pulls me out the story, and I feel the same about stunts. When I hear, you know, they do that amazing Maverick movie, you know, the Top Gun and the velocities, and they went up and they trained underwater, and all I'm thinking the whole time is, oh, I hope that poor actor's okay, and their face
yeah.
isn't forever, you know.
The wind change. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? It's
Do
such
you
a sort
feel
of,
like you like to
Yes,
see?
I personally think if someone, which they pretty much always can do it better than me, I'll
They
happily
should do
share
it.
the role.
You're giving them a job,
Yeah.
you're helping the economy, you're encouraging like a stunt community, and more importantly, you're keeping your limbs for the next shot. One needs their limbs, unless it's magic.
Jesse
It's-
hurt himself, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He
had
fractured
a
his
finger.
little finger.
Was
What
that doing a stunt or doing
yeah,
a magic trick?
He was in a room that turns. We have amazing sets. This one thing you're going to love about this movie, guys, is not just the amazing sort of twists and our amazing villain and the fact that the horsemen are back together and the stakes are even higher and the magic's so cool. But we have these sets that are built
Magic
from
is in the
scratch.
construction of the movie.
And this room moves.
Oh, it's
and they
incredible.
had this
Oh.
fight, Jesse, and obviously the only thing that didn't move, it wasn't foam, was this sort of mahogany, I want to say like a vanity, and it jammed his little finger. But it gave me a great excuse to give him attention. I was like, how's your finger, Jesse? I just like to follow Jesse around and annoy him. How's your finger? Is it feeling better? Isla, it's fine. I like to mom him. Thank you for watching us. We were Harper's Bazaar.
One-on-one.